Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new episode of the Berry Talks. This is the 15th episode. My name is George Duarte from Ortitool Consulting, and we have the Berry Talks again in 2024. This is the conversation with leading global players, meeting place to know personalities, companies, and technology from the industry all over the world. I'm co-hosting this episode with Thomas, our partner from Italian Berry, and also Siam Sahidi from Green Smile. How are you?
Hello, everybody from Italy. Everything okay? I hope the same for you and also for the people who are joining us today.
Hello, everybody. Have a nice day and thank you for following us.
Today, our guest is Cindy van Rijswick, Agribusiness Analyst of Rabobank Division of Food and Agribusiness Research. Hello, Cindy. Thanks for joining us and accepting our invitation to be here in our Berry Talks.
Hi, everyone.
Can you quickly introduce yourself to our audience and say something about who you are and what is your job as an agribusiness analyst for Rabobank?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on this Berry Talks. My daily job is research into fruits and vegetables mainly. I've been doing this for about 2 decades already. And I'm in the Rabobank's global research team. And this team is not only covering berries and other fruits and vegetables, but also dairy, grains, oilseeds, meat, seafood, and other agricultural commodities. This is used internally to advise the bank on the risks that we run, to advise the banks on opportunities in the market for lending, but also for acquisition advisory or for other financial products. And what we also do is publish research to help our clients, but also to promote Rabobank. And we used to speak about this research at conferences and so on. Very exciting job, and especially the berry sector is one of the main subsectors within my domain that I cover.
Thank you, Cindy. I have a question for you. You have been present in many events, including the Morocco Berry Conference, bringing topics and analysis about the trends of the berry sector. What is for you the fundamental source base of this clear vision that you have about the market trends of the berry sector? And we can say about you that you are the queen of the berry sector. How do you do your research? What is the process?
I used to start with data, so that's the fundamental of my research. But it's not so easy to find data sometimes that's the case with all fruit and vegetable industries. And on top of the data, I'm talking to people in the industry. Of course, I'm in the lucky position that we also have our own clients in this sector. So it's kind of easy to get access to people in the industry. And of course, if you get older, you get more experience and get to know more people and visit all these nice events in the berry industry, and you hear more and more information. But it's a mix of data, various data sources, and talking to people in the industry.
Thank you.
Do you have also your own? Sorry, George, it's your turn.
No. You can go ahead, no problem. You have already a question.
Yes, you mentioned,
go ahead.
You mentioned the different sources of data. Do you, as Rabobank, produce also your own data about the berry industry, or is it mainly about third-party data?
We do not produce so much our own data. There's only few countries where we have a high concentration of clients. example, in Netherlands, where I'm based, we bank a lot of producers of strawberries, and for those producers, yeah, we get data. We have a database which is on an anonymous base, because we cannot see. It's not allowed to see the details of the companies, but we can see for the whole group what the financial performance is. Also. How much kilogram per hectare they produce, and other interesting metrics. But so this is very limited to the Netherlands, where we have a large market share. So in the Netherlands, we bank about 80%, 80, of all fruit and vegetable growers. So also strawberry growers. The other sectors, blueberries, raspberries, are pretty small. And if the sector is very small, yeah, you cannot really draw good conclusions if there's only a small sample of companies. But we do speak to these companies, so it's more qualitative information. But on the data, yeah, I wish we had more data.
Thank you.
Good. Well, when we search about the berry sector and also about Rabobank, in terms of investment in agriculture, that's the top leading results on a browser is coming to you. What has been the reason that Rabobank became, and especially your division became also reference as analytic in the berry industry? That's the first question. Is already inside of the bank. It's on the DNA of the institution, and the other part to develop is the you think the banks are and should be the motivators or the supporters of the investment that has been needed in the future between market requirements or demand and also the investment part, the investor, the private sector, um, and what has to be done for also other institutions like similar to yours to be back up the enterprises and the companies in the future. What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, let's start with the first question about the Rabobank DNA, and that's definitely farmers' DNA. So Rabobank, last year we had the 125th anniversary of Rabobank. 125 years ago, it was founded by farmers, and it's still a cooperative bank. The share of food and agriculture in the total bank exposure has decreased over the years. Like agriculture has become less important, I think, in many countries around the world. But it is still the main focus area of Rabobank abroad. So it is very important. And we do not only finance growers, but also marketing companies, cooperatives, startups also. Today, actually, I had a conversation with some colleagues that have invested in a robotic company for a powdery mildew treatment in strawberries, but also in vineyards. And so that's a direct investment of Rabobank. But what we usually do is just lending, so financing farmers, but only in selective countries, unfortunately. So it's mainly the Netherlands, US, Australia, Chile, and Peru. And for the big companies, trading companies, or big players, we are also active in other countries like Spain. We have one office in Italy, but there is quite a high threshold for minimum size of these companies that we bank. And now I forgot the second and third part of your question, George. You had many
Okay,
questions. One.
it was too much questions. Okay, you already approached the DNA of the bank. Here, in terms of investment, what do you see in a market that have to be the relation of demand of the agribusiness and the bank position? So you mentioned in the previous comment that the DNA is So the bank is from growers, is very focused in intelligence of the market, the analytics. But what you think in the future, today's position and in the future will be the banks coming with a proposition to clients to redirect their investments in agribusiness, or is coming from the agribusiness perspective, in this case, the stakeholders coming to the bank and say, I have this idea, or I see this trend. Can you support me with this? What is the daily base relation that we have with the clients?
Yeah, usually clients come to us with their business plans, and then we will consider whether we can provide lending. We have several criteria for providing the loan.
Mhm.
When it's a big investment, it's often not possible that banks provide financing. So sometimes you need also external investors to invest. What we currently see in the market is that there's still quite some interest from private equity or investor funds to invest in berries. Also from pension funds, they like to invest in the land mainly. Because for the long term, that's kind of safe and stable investment. So there's a mix of solutions for berry companies. So both bank financing, a loan, or investors. And the investment climate has been difficult in the last few years because interest rates have gone up, and also yeah, they have the sentiment in the economy has gone down a bit. But I'm sure that for good business cases, there is still interest, and there is. So, for example, for Spanish well-performing companies, there's still interest to invest in. Also, there's still investors that want to invest in Morocco, for example, or other fast-growing places for growing berries. So, I think with a
So
good plan, there's always money.
yeah, yeah. There's a trend of funds becoming part of the agriculture and agribusiness. You see that trend in the future, like you mentioned, the pension funds and other type of funds. What you say for you the trend coming in that direction?
Yeah, there's definitely a trend that more and more family-owned companies will become in the hands of investors, or partly. There's also an issue for family-based, family-owned companies. If they want to transfer the company to the son or daughter, it's kind of difficult to finance that transfer. Sometimes they need an investor to come into the company to make it possible, because yeah, the companies have sometimes become too big for the next generation to buy them. So they need other solutions to make that happening. But we will see also in the future a diverse range of companies, especially in the fruit sector. There's big, large-scale investor-owned companies, small family-owned companies. There's cooperatives, everything, and yeah, I think that will remain the case. There's different business models. You can choose to make money in the berry sector, especially in the berry sector, because the market is still not mature. It's still growing. There was a little bit of flat market in the last 2 years, but I'm positive that there will be growth again in the coming years.
Thank you.
Yes, you were mentioning this trend in the berry category. How does the berry category compare to the other fruit and vegetable categories? Is it still the star? Are there other categories? How is the berry category performing now?
It has become less of a star than what we've seen between 2012 and 2019. The berry sector was very highly outperforming the other fruits. Has become less the case, but I think this is not only due to the economic circumstances, but also to availability issues. Last year, in 2023, we saw quite a big decline in consumption in Netherlands and Germany of blueberries. But in the last quarter of the years, there were hardly any blueberries available. So if they're not in the supermarket, consumers can't buy them. So I think that was a problem. And the prices were very strong still for blueberries. So that shows that the demand is still there, I think. But it's getting quite difficult to get the supply right for 52 weeks a year because of all the issues with the weather. Also, in the beginning of the year, there were some issues with Moroccan berries, and the end of the year with Peru. So with all the weather extremes, it's getting pretty difficult to get the supply right, actually. So I think demand will not be the issue, but supply will be more of a challenge going forward in the future. And we see, yeah, that consumers, especially now, quality is getting improved. I think that will even give a new boost to consumption. We see lots of new blueberry varieties now in the market, the bigger ones that are more crunchier, and these are really nice. I think I have not seen them much in my local supermarket, but I'm sure if the quality gets better, consumers will buy more of them. So I think in a few years, the supermarkets will get used to this better quality and will not accept the old berries that do not taste well. So, and then the whole industry has to move to these better quality. And that's good for consumers, actually. They will also buy more when the quality is right. So, and also in strawberries, I still see that's a very stable category. Volumes have not increased, but over the years, what we see in the north of Europe is that average price levels have increased. And that's also because producers have changed the varieties. They've moved to better quality varieties, also more consistent quality of strawberries, more controlled circumstances. So now most of them use some kind of tunnel or cover. And I think that, yeah, has improved the strawberry category also. And there will be many new varieties launched the coming years. I know I've been talking to some of the breeders, and all of them have very good varieties in the pipeline, and more focusing more on quality than just high yields or long shelf life, which often doesn't give the best berries for the consumer. So I think all these quality injections in the sector will be positive for consumption. Maybe not, consumers will not buy more volumes, but they will pay higher price if the quality is right in the end. I was visiting Spain early this week, and also seeing some strawberry growers who also moved to new varieties, and these were really good. I had the pleasure to taste them fresh from the field, and the eating quality was very nice. While Spain was always very much focused on just volume, yields, transportability of the strawberries, they also start to change now, I believe, and that will happen everywhere in Europe, I'm sure. And on the raspberries and blackberries, I've also been told that there's lots of new varieties coming into the market, bigger blackberries, blackberries with no seeds in it, or things like that, which could be very attractive for consumers. But I think with raspberries and blackberries, also production will become more of a challenge. It is already the case. It has become less profitable for many growers. They have many issues with labor costs. It's very difficult for raspberries and blackberries. So it's a difficult crop. I think growers like to move more, yeah, to blueberries and raspberries if possible. That's easier to grow. But there will always also be opportunities for those crops. And actually, if you can grow blackberries that are twice the size of the old ones, you will massively reduce labor cost. And if the taste is also good for consumers, it's a win-win. So it might attract a whole new market. But still, for growers, it's still difficult to grow. in the end.
Yes, you mentioned the price increase we have experienced in the last months, and I think it's quite surprising to people of the industry how resilient the consumer was to those price increases. I mean, for example, in Italy, we had the consumption of berries going up 19% despite of the price increase. And I think this is a bit of a surprise because everybody was trying to drive the price down in order to increase consumption. But this, I think, is giving some kind of hope to the growers that it's not only price down and price war. It's also about the passion of the consumer for the category and the willingness of paying a little bit more just to have it, and probably in the future a little bit more to have some nice, good quality berries. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's not about price, because if consumers want to have cheap fruits, they rather buy a Yona Gold apple or a banana. So consumers anyway, it's more of a more expensive fruit. So they want to have nice fruit that is not disappointing them. And blueberries are a perfect snack. It's so easy to take them in a cup and eat them just without having to peel or wash or do anything. So I think it's a perfect fruit for consumers. And there's still lots of opportunities. And also with the inflationary environment last year, I think that has only impacted part of the consumers. So there's still many consumers that have high incomes, and employment is good in most European countries. So there's still many people with jobs. So actually, they are not that much impacted. A lot of the media attention goes to the people impacted by the inflation, but there's also a big group of consumers that has still money to spend. And yeah, they like it to spend it on food that's really nice, like blueberries and strawberries. So I'm also positive by that. So looking at the fruit category, actually, in last year, or it was no 2022, a category like apples didn't do that well. Well, apples were quite cheap at that time. So consumers do not. So yeah, some people or supermarkets often talk about too much about prices. If consumers really like something, they will buy it. Also, restaurants have been doing quite well in some European countries. While yeah, they increased prices a lot. So yeah, we should not be too negative about the situation, I think. So I agree with you that there's a lot of hope for this industry, even if economics go down a bit. Or anyway, it's already more of the high income group that buys berries. Yeah, in most countries.
I have another marketing question. Sorry, you mentioned berries as an ideal snack, blueberries as an ideal snack. How do you think the grape industry is doing compared to the berry industry? Because also there is a lot of varietal improvement, and I personally think that grapes will be a bit of a surprise. Will that impact the berry category?
Sometimes I said that blueberries will be the new grape, but it's a similar fruit, yeah, and both ideal for snacking or giving to kids in the lunchbox or whatever. What we see in table grapes is that it's a bit of a front runner already in the genetics. Many proprietary varieties have been developed for grapes, and farmers have invested a lot in that. And there are really nice, better tasting varieties in the market. There's also a bit of an issue that there's maybe too many options available. Farmers have chosen the wrong variety, so wasted a lot of investment. So it's really important for growers, if they consider to move to new berry varieties, actually to discuss this and research this before planting something new, to really find out, are my customers open for this? Do they want to pay for this? do the royalty payments, are they in balance with the additional revenues, or because it's not an easy decision when you have to plant and the plant or the tree has to stay for 10, 20 years or even more. So for strawberries it's easier, of course, you can change quickly. But the problem with grapes, it is quite commoditized around the world, unfortunately. And in Europe, it's so difficult to put branding on the box. So it's always a lottery when I buy grapes. One day they are nice, the other day, next day they are not nice at all. But you don't know which ones they are. Sometimes the varieties on the box, sometimes it's not. So that makes it difficult. The same happens with other fruits, unfortunately. In the US, it's easier. There's certain brands that always have nice varieties, and you recognize them, and you can buy the same brand again. But in Europe, it's only private label, and consumers don't know what will be in the shelf next time. I don't know how to solve this. Supermarkets should work. I think it's their goal. They should have the ambition to work with long-term partners and work together to have all weeks nice supply and pay sufficient to their suppliers to make this happen. But that's not so easy.
Yes, I think that in particular on blueberries, we are running the risk of disappointing the customer by not giving enough continuity and consistent quality. This is a major risk, even because the varietal improvement is speeding up. So we run the risk really on Tuesday to buy some nice berries, and on Wednesday to buy some really bad berries on the same shelf, in the same pack, in the same supermarket.
Yeah, and even the same price for a very different type of product. So it's kind of challenging, I think, and it can really damage the reputation for all berries if consumers are so disappointed. It's also with all the different marketing windows. One day there's Chilean berries on the market, next day it's from Morocco, and if the Chilean ones are poor quality, consumers may not buy the Moroccan ones next day, and maybe they are completely different. So that's really an issue, I think. But I think in the long term now, there's more and more global berry companies that supply the big supermarket chains, and they really try to have more consistent sourcing. So some of the big players, they will try to plant the same variety in different geographies to have a year-round supply of high quality. But okay, I know supermarkets can be opportunistic, and if there are some cheap batches on the market from, I don't know, a single grower or cooperative, they still buy it maybe. But if they're serious about this category, they should try to work with a plan and have more consistency over the year, I think.
Yes.
So, Cindy, you said that if the quality of the blueberry should be maintained the same in the supermarket, we should buy from like a 52 year around the supply with the same brand and make it visible to the consumer. This is what the supermarket should give to the consumer in the future for the well-being of the category of the blueberries.
Yeah, a brand could be a solution, but also a supermarket brand. So just a private label brand like a Tesco product or Carrefour product could work if they are able to have a good quality all the time. So then consumers can trust that these berries from these supermarkets are always good. Now this is not the case. It's also complicated. It's still Mother Nature that is defining part of the quality. But I think it is possible to have a bit more consistency. I think in the past, the market was growing so fast that it was not really needed to focus on quality. Everyone could sell the berries at a good margin. So, but now the market is getting more mature. I think companies have to put more effort in the quality, which is, I think, needed. So it's not only about producing more volumes; it's also about higher quality and consistent quality. So yeah, which is always a problem with fruits. I know it's like a mandarin that's also so disappointing sometimes.
And it's difficult because in the production we have so many varieties that taste so different. It's difficult to have, I mean, to respond to the taste that the consumer wants, that is tasty, and we have so many varieties in the production side.
I know it, and also consumers have different preferences. So some consumers like very sweet, other consumers like more a little bit of acid or sour still in the fruit. So that's also difficult to keep everyone happy. But on the production, yeah, it's extremely complicated. But I think that's an opportunity for the companies. If things are too easy, everyone can do it. So, and if it's a little bit more complicated, yeah, companies can make money doing this right. So,
Yeah, exactly. Uh, we can come back to the investment part of the business. If you had an advice for investors in the future, what could be the do's and don'ts at this point for the berry sector in the EMA region? What could be the strengths and challenges for investors in this region?
yeah, I'm not really an advisor, but I think it is it's important to spread risk. So not put all your bets in one mega farm, but have different production locations. I think that's important, and carefully selecting the varieties that both benefit on the farming side, so with good yield or low production cost or high picking speed, and benefiting the consumer. So that's the holy grail actually for the berry sectors. So, and to achieve this, I think it's really important to have strong relationships vertically in the supply chain. So be in touch with all the breeders to know what's happening there, to see what varieties they are working on and what the varieties could potentially mean for your company, but also have long-term relationships with supermarkets. So together you can build a berry category and both make money with it. So I think, yeah, those are few important issues for the berry sector. And I think many companies are working on this already. And you can also, if you want to supply supermarkets directly, okay, you should have some size and work in different locations to have that year-round supply. If you just want to focus on production, I think that's also fine, but you need just to focus on yeah, having an efficient farm and good quality. I think that's really important for just a farmer. If you're more in the trading business, so buying from growers and selling to supermarkets, you really have to add some value. So, you see more and more integrated players now in the market. So marketing companies that have their own production. For companies without any production, it's becoming more difficult. It's still possible if they have a really very advanced sourcing network or any other added value, but it's becoming more of a difficult positions because supermarkets want to do more direct business with companies that have growing operations as well.
Uh, I have a question. Cindy, gathering all these comments that you did, you see more and more the vertical integrated companies creating global brands, to be able to support the supermarket that's been discussing. But do you see that this is a trend will, in at some point, create a disappearance of the smaller growers that has less consistent deliveries, less quality? You're going to see this trend in the future in the next 5, 10 years. More global brands reaching all with the production locations, with to assure that the food is coming on a weekly base, on a consistent way. Do you see this trend? The big rows get bigger and the small ones tend to disappear.
I think definitely some of the big companies will get even bigger, but they will never produce everything themselves. So they still will work with growers that give them flexibility. So there's always room in the market also for smaller independent growers. Actually, maybe it becomes more challenging for the companies that are just not big and not small and more in between. That's what we often see happening in agriculture. So the smaller ones can maybe focus on a niche or
Okay.
some specific qualities, but when you're not really big and not small and flexible, it becomes more of a challenge, I think. But these integrated big international players will always continue to work with growers. It's very expensive for them to grow everything, all the fruits themselves, because you need so much capital nowadays to develop a field of blueberries or strawberries. They also need the capital, to for other things that the company is doing. So, and they need some flexibility. So probably they will always continue to work with growers as well.
And putting all this together, it seems that the berry sector is very dynamic. It's evolving. It's getting mature in some regions, especially in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Is for you the berry sector the most exciting sector to do the research, or compare with others that you've been doing, or is just a passion that comes from your years of experience?
Yeah, honestly, berry sector is probably the sector I like most. I also look to vegetables, potatoes, avocados, all of it I like. But the berries have been the most dynamic, and also I just like the fruit a lot. So, but yeah, I like all fruit and vegetables. But berries is a bit more exciting because the market has been growing. There's different type of berries. Also, it is a small world. It's with very nice people, I think, that meet each other at the many events. And yeah, I really like it a lot. So hopefully there will be continuous developments. So I still have work to do.
Thank you very much, Cindy. We are sharing the same passion for the bear industry, and we also hope to have a long time in this business. I think it's been a very interesting conversation because we usually talk to agronomists, to growers, to packers, to traders, and your point of view is, of course, different. And I think that we must take very much into consideration what you told us. I think that a few points which are arising from what you said, the 20 years experience in a bank which is helping growers for the last 125 years. I think that a few points were interesting. I think that the fact that the agriculture is still something where people want to invest money, which, as you told us, and if you think that Bill Gates is the largest owner of agricultural land in the world, this should tell us something. And I think that what we have seen recently also in the bear industry also the berry industry is attracting investors, which is, I think, a very important point. And another important point, I think, that we all agree that it's not all about the price. The economic indicators are telling us that despite the price increases, the berry consumption is still strong, and there is a future for that. Also, thanks to the fact that the growers are now trying to be more consistent and elevate the level of the quality. I think this, like you were saying, is the key strategy for a mature industry. I still think, and I agree with you, the berry industry has still a lot of room to grow. It's a modern product, something which helps the consumer to have a better life, both in terms of the eating experience, but also in terms of health. So it's a combination which will not be easy to duplicate by any other product categories and so on. So I think that you are helping the industry in focusing on the important things, which is what we are looking for. And I think it's important also to give the message that big is good, but also small is good, which is an interesting concept which can help the growers, which nowadays many growers in many countries are struggling for a number of problems. But if they do work well, I think there will be a future. So thank you very much for joining us and for telling us your view about our beloved berry industry.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's true. We are ending the episode today. Thank you, Cindy. As usual, Thomas make the wrap up, and we appreciate your presence here. We have been meeting in different conferences. The Google always, the browser always pop up with the intelligence master from the berry industry. Is always the first clicks we get, and it's wonderful to see your work, how you present the results, how concise and objective it is, the research you do, and it's being very enlightening through the years how the trends are coming, and actually it is very exciting to see that we all share the same passion in the different ways on the berry sector, and that's why we are here. The Berry Talks exist because of that. Thank you for accepting the invitation. We're gonna say bye also to our audience. We're gonna stream the episode in different sources. You can also see in LinkedIn. You can see YouTube and Facebook. And next month we're gonna have another invitee with a different topic. Hope you all you are here to see. Thank you, my team, my colleagues, Thomas and Siam for creating this project. And once again, Cindy, it was wonderful to have you here in our show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.